One big problem that Star Citizen has always faced for new people getting into it is the cost of entry. $45 isn't a whole lot for some, but it is too much for others, and couple that with the fact that the perception of the starter ship has always been kind of negative, and you've got an experience for new players that is less than stellar, giving them the perception that the starter ship that they have does not enable them to do the cooler aspects of Star Citizen, which are locked behind bigger and more expensive ships. Hey guys, I'm Morphologist and welcome back. Now, while the starter ship isn't as bad as everybody thinks it is, I've shown that in my last video, the fact or problem remains that the gap between the starter ship and the next upgrade is quite a big one. And so, in this video, I'm hoping to inspire some thought in the community of how we can bridge that gap simply with what we already have or with some simple additions. What prompted this was a discussion on stream with Salty Mike, Astropub, and myself at different times. We all came up with our own ideas separately just in this last patch cycle, and I wanted to share those ideas with you and hopefully, like I said, inspire you to think of how we might improve on them, or if you think of any other really cool ideas. So while I share these 3 ideas, feel free to share your own down below in the comment section. Now in the background, I'm not going to be showing you guys all the things I'm talking about because we're talking about some ideas that just don't exist yet. Instead, I'm going to be showing you guys one of the gameplay loops that has to do with my own idea from start to finish. That's box missions, and some people are not aware that this even exists who are outside of the Star Citizen community and don't have the game. So I think it's a good opportunity to show some new viewers one of the gameplay loops currently in Star Citizen. So let's talk about the 2 other guys in the community, Salty Mike and Astropub. Their ideas are really cool and I wanted to share them with you. So full credit to those guys. I'll put their links down in the description below. They both have YouTube channels and Twitch channels and they're good friends of mine, so I don't want to just steal their ideas without proper citation. So the first idea I want to share with you guys is Salty Mike's idea, but I'm going to put a bit of a twist on it at the end. So with persistence finally in as of 3.8 and us having kept, for the most part, our inventories since that time, that's about 6 months now, a lot of people are going out and trying to earn money to buy a ship in game. But as Salty Mike discovered, for some of the more experienced players, the drive to earn that next ship might not be as great, and so he thought of an idea to offer a ship in game that had a custom unique skin that could only be earned through purchasing it in game with AUEC. I personally think this is a great idea. It offers an incentive for people to earn up to it and a way to show off their hard work to other players with that unique skin. But I want to add a little bit of a twist to this. I think it's a good idea, but I think there's an issue with new player ships in general, because you can upgrade the weapons and modules, but only to a point, and then there's still this big time gap between when you buy those parts and when you finally earn enough money to buy your new ship. So how do we make that time enjoyable? Well, I think one of the things that you could earn up to buy in-game would be a paint scheme. It could be not super expensive, but expensive enough that it would be something that you would earn along the way to really make your ship your own. For this to work, the skins would have to be unique to the in-game experience and not purchasable on the website. It's a reward for playing the game, and I think for CIG, it could reward them by encouraging more players to play for longer and to experience more bugs so that they can be fixed and panned out. Because bug fixing is a big issue for CIG. They need everybody on them so that they can figure out where they're coming from and fix them for the next patch. The next cool idea came from Astropub, and again, it's about the new player experience. He noted that trying to earn a new ship is quite difficult, and so wouldn't it be nice instead to be able to trade your ship in? Actually, I think Salty Mike mentioned this as well. This is not a new idea, but it's worth mentioning here because I think it's a great one. Being able to trade your ship in for a new one will cut down the time between earning ships pretty substantially. Now, of course, covering the gap won't necessarily be that easy. It's still probably going to be several 100,000 AUEC, so it's still going to take some time to grind, but I think it would make that gap much more reasonable for players who are starting off with just a starter ship. And I think this could work really nice with what they're working on according to the sprint report for the Mobiglass trading app. They're working on an app right now that's going to allow players in the future to trade money directly from player to player, meaning you could pay your friends for, say, mining with you and a big mining ship, something you can't do right now unless you use beacons, which is a really silly workaround method. But the other thing they mentioned in that same sprint report was that the app was eventually going to enable players to trade items from one another. And that is a really cool prospect. Could this be extended to trading ships, not just between players, but between NPCs for trading up your vessel towards a new one at the new deal? I wonder. Now, these are really cool ideas, but my idea had to do with what they've already added in as of 3.9, and that's Quantanium. So right now, if you guys don't know, there's a new resource that you can find out in asteroid fields and on certain planets called Quantanium. This raw resource eventually is processed into quantum fuel and is extremely volatile but extremely profitable. A load of Quantanium can yield as much as 600,000 AUEC, but like I said, you gotta get it to a refinery in time before it explodes and kills you and your entire load. It's a really fun and risky way of doing mining, and I like that they added this in. But it's really only the end game for miners right now. To be able to mine Quantanium, you need a prospector with an upgraded head, at the very least, to be able to even handle a Quantanium ore rock. But this time limit exciting sort of function of the game got me thinking about something else. Shipping. As it stands right now, shipping is very much like what mining used to be. In order to be able to effectively ship stuff and make profit, you need a big ship. Anything below a freelancer is not going to cut it. You're just not going to make it worth your time versus doing box missions or doing bounty hunting missions, etc., etc. So how can we make it more accessible to the new player? Well, we know that small amounts of Quantanium are still worth a ton of money. So what if we allowed new players to ship small quantities of Quantanium under a time limit from place to place to make a large profit? This could potentially be an exciting way to start off a player's first experience with shipping in Star Citizen. But what about balance then? Couldn't just big cargo ships ship a lot of it and make stupid amounts of money? Well, I've got an idea for that too. The more you put in your ship's cargo, the more volatile it becomes, and thus the timer decreases. So say for example you put as much as you could into a Mustang Alpha. Well, that would take around 30 minutes to go critical and you would lose your load in your ship. But if you tried doing it in, say, a freelancer, maybe it would be cut down to as little as 15 to 10 minutes if you really put a lot in there. But I think something like this for new players could be a really nice stepping stone to step up their game early on, to move from, say, box missions to volatile cargo as a next tier of shipping ability. Maybe you have to earn your way into this as a trusted shipping person, for example, like the way you become more trusted as a bounty hunter and eventually get better bounty hunting missions. But this would also allow players with bigger ships to give it a go, but at far greater risk. Which makes sense because bigger ships have bigger quantum fuel tanks and faster quantum drives, so you would have to make it riskier for them because they could go straight to the location versus having to hop around from place to place to refuel like a starter ship would. It would also make, say, upgrading to the VK00, the fastest quantum drive in the game, make a lot of sense. So you could like make entire quick shipping builds for little ships so that you could get to where you need to go in time. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below, and if you want to share them with me live, you can do so over on my Twitch channel, which will be down in the description below. I'll be streaming tonight live, as well as every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, so I hope to see you guys there. I've been Morphologist, you guys stay awesome, I'll see you next time.